Most people believe that getting rich is purely a matter of luck, or perhaps just earning a massive six-figure corporate salary. However, seasoned investors understand a secret truth that most average people never take the time to truly learn or apply. The moment you save your first $100,000, everything about your financial life changes forever and for the better. But strangely enough, those first six figures will be the hardest money you will ever have to earn in your entire life. But once you finally reach that milestone, your wealth starts building itself through the incredible and unstoppable power of compound growth. The first problem is quite simple to understand. You are starting from zero with absolutely no momentum to help you move. At the beginning of the journey, every single dollar you save must come directly from your own hard work and physical labor. Your investments are not doing much for you yet, because they lack the critical mass required to generate any significant daily momentum. This happens because small investments naturally create small returns, which can feel very discouraging when you are just starting your path. This is the difficult stage where most people decide to give up because they don't see the immediate results they were expecting. But underneath the surface, something incredibly powerful is quietly building and preparing to transform your entire financial future and long-term outlook. Time is slowly but surely turning your small amounts of money into much bigger sums through the magic of mathematical compounding cycles. The absolute key to winning this game is consistency, showing up every single month regardless of what the broader market is doing. You must continue the process month after month and year after year until the small gains begin to stack into something substantial. Until one day, something truly incredible finally happens to your portfolio that changes your perspective on wealth and money forever. Your money finally starts making its own money, creating a secondary stream of income that exists entirely separate from your job. And those initial earnings begin producing their own earnings, creating a beautiful cycle of growth that feeds into itself over time. This is the classic definition of compound growth, a mathematical force that Albert Einstein once called the eighth wonder of the world. And this force becomes undeniably powerful once you cross the threshold of the first $100,000 in your account. Because at this specific point, your money is officially working much harder for your future than you could ever work for it. When you only have $10,000, the daily growth feels incredibly slow and almost unnoticeable on your bank statement screens. Once you hit $50,000, you finally start noticing some real progress and your motivation begins to increase significantly every day. But at the $100,000 mark, the fundamental math of your life changes in a way that is truly profound. A simple 10% market return suddenly means you have earned $10,000 in a single year without doing any work. That $10,000 gain is actually more than many people are able to save in an entire year of working hard. Now your wealth begins to accelerate at a rapid pace, moving forward like a steam engine that has finally caught its breath. This is exactly why serious investors obsess over the first 100,000, knowing it is the gateway to true financial independence. Because everything becomes significantly easier after that point, as the heavy lifting is now being done by the capital you've saved. Your hardest investing work is finally behind you, and you can begin to breathe a sigh of relief as your momentum grows. But reaching this incredible milestone requires the right strategy, a clear plan, and the discipline to follow it through to the end. So how do successful people actually reach their first $100,000 without burning out or losing their focus along the way? It usually starts with a very simple habit that anyone can start today, regardless of how much money they currently have saved. You must commit to investing consistently, making it a non-negotiable part of your monthly budget, just like paying your rent or mortgage. Even small amounts can build significant momentum over time, as long as you remain dedicated to the process and never stop moving. Because in the world of finance, consistency will always beat trying to time the market perfectly every single time you invest money. Trying to time the market usually leads to failure, as even the experts struggle to predict the short-term movements of the economy. But consistent investing smooths out the journey, allowing you to buy more when prices are low and less when they are high. The next step in the process comes down to controlling your expenses and being mindful of where every single dollar is going. A higher savings rate means you are investing more capital every month, which speeds up your journey to the 100,000 mark. And that discipline dramatically speeds up the path to $100,000, cutting years off your total time spent working hard. Another powerful tool for the modern investor is index investing, which allows you to own a small piece of the entire economy. Instead of betting your hard-earned money on just one company, you're diversifying your risk across many different sectors and business models. You are effectively investing in hundreds of the most successful companies all at once, ensuring that you grow as the world grows. This approach significantly reduces your risk while allowing you to capture the long-term growth of the global stock market over many decades. But the most powerful ingredient in this entire wealth-building recipe is time, the one resource that we can never get back once. The earlier you start your investing journey, the better off you will be, thanks to the exponential nature of mathematical compound growth. Because compound growth needs a long runway of time to work its magic and turn small seeds into giant trees of wealth. And the market always rewards disciplined and patient investors who are willing to wait for their trees to grow and bear fruit. Eventually, through persistence and time, the portfolio reaches that important milestone that everyone has been working so hard to finally achieve. You finally cross the finish line of the first $100,000, a moment of celebration and a huge relief for you. This is the exact point where things begin to change fundamentally, and your wealth starts to take on a life of its own. Your investments start producing a meaningful amount of income through dividends and capital gains that you can see in your account daily. Your portfolio now has the capacity to grow even when you are doing absolutely nothing, working for you while you are sleeping. Now the engine of compound interest is fully active and spinning at high speeds, generating more value every single second of the day. Your annual returns begin generating serious amounts of money, sometimes rivaling the amount you are contributing from your own monthly salary. And with each passing year, the growth gets bigger and bigger as the base of your capital continues to expand and multiply. This is the major turning point for many investors, where they realize that financial freedom is no longer just a distant dream. The hardest phase of the journey is finally behind them, and they can now see the path to millions clearly laid out ahead. From here on out, your growth accelerates like a rocket ship leaving the atmosphere, moving faster and faster toward your ultimate goals. And your wealth begins to multiply in ways that seem almost impossible when you were looking at your very first zero balance. $100,000 quickly becomes $200,000 as the compounding effect begins to take over the majority of the work. Then $200,000 becomes $500,000 even faster as the gains on your gains start to stack up very rapidly. And eventually, you look up to find that you have reached $1 million, a milestone that once seemed completely out of reach. All of this success happened because of the momentum you were brave enough to build during those very difficult early years of saving. Which is exactly why the first $100,000 matters so much in the grand scheme of your entire financial life. It is the key that unlocks the true power of investing, moving you from a laborer to a true owner of capital. And once this process starts moving at full speed, it becomes very hard to stop, even during periods of market volatility and change. But reaching this level still requires a great deal of discipline and a commitment to the long-term vision you have for yourself. Because the truth is that wealth building is actually very simple to understand, but it is definitely not easy to actually execute. And the journey to $1 million always starts with that very first investment, no matter how small or insignificant it feels. But the sad reality is that many potential investors never actually reach their first $100,000 because they get distracted or quit. And the reasons for this are surprisingly common and usually have more to do with psychology than they do with actual math. The first and most common mistake is lifestyle inflation, where you spend more money as soon as you start making more money. As your income grows, your spending grows even faster, leaving you with no extra capital to put into your growing investment accounts. This behavior leaves your investment jar nearly empty, even though you are working harder and earning more than you ever have before. The second major mistake is giving in to panic during market drops, selling your investments when prices are low instead of staying calm. You must remember that markets rise and fall constantly, and short-term fluctuations are just a natural part of the long-term cycle. Long-term investors stay calm during these storms, knowing that the best thing they can do is stay the course and keep investing. Because temporary drops are completely normal, and they often provide the best opportunities to buy high-quality assets at a significant discount. The third mistake is inconsistency, allowing life's distractions to break your habit of investing every single month without fail or excuse. Investing only when it feels convenient or when you have extra money left over is a recipe for very slow and frustrating growth. But wealth rewards the disciplined, those who pay themselves first and make their future a priority over their current short-term desires. Small actions that are repeated over a long period of time create massive results that will eventually surprise you and everyone else. And eventually, those who stay the course will reach the milestone, crossing that $100,000 mark with a sense of pride. Reaching this goal unlocks the next exciting phase of your investing life, where your money starts to do the heavy lifting for you. This is where your money begins working harder than ever, generating returns that can eventually cover all of your basic living expenses. And from this point forward, your wealth begins accelerating at a pace that makes the early years look like they were standing still. All of this incredible progress started with that very first milestone, the foundation upon which your entire financial empire is now built. This is exactly why every experienced and successful investor will repeat the same piece of advice to anyone who will listen. You must focus all of your energy and intensity on reaching your first $100,000 as quickly as you possibly can. Because the hardest part of the entire process is simply getting started and breaking the inertia of having no savings at all. Your first investment may feel small and unimportant, but it is the most critical step you will ever take toward your freedom. But every single expert investor you admire started exactly the same way, with a small amount of money and a big dream. They reached their goals by making one good decision at a time, staying focused on the long term instead of seeking immediate gratification. They built their wealth 1 month at a time, consistently adding to their accounts regardless of what was happening in the news. They stayed patient for 1 year at a time, allowing the market to do its work while they focused on their own lives. Until one day, the momentum finally appeared, and their accounts started growing faster than they ever thought was possible or likely. And then, the first 100,000 was finally reached, proving that the system works for anyone willing to follow the rules. From there, the journey becomes much easier and more enjoyable, as you can see the fruits of your labor growing every day. Because compound growth is finally on your side, working like a silent partner to build your wealth and secure your future life. And wealth starts building itself automatically, allowing you to spend more time on the things and people that truly matter to you. Which is exactly why seasoned investors always say that the first 100,000 is the hardest, but it is also the most important. The first 100,000 is the hardest because you are doing all the work, but it is the foundation of everything else. But after that, it gets much easier as your money takes over the responsibility of growing your net worth every single year. So start building your first investment today, even if it is just a few dollars, because the clock is already ticking away. Because the market always rewards the patient and those who are willing to wait for the compounding process to reach its peak. And consistency creates wealth that lasts for generations, providing security and freedom for you and your entire family for years. Your future self will look back and thank you for the sacrifices you are making today to build this incredible financial foundation. And it all begins with the first step, a single decision to take control of your money and your future once and for all. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please subscribe for more simple and clear explanations about money, wealth, and investing.